decisions I made, to that ex who's insane, to the things that won't change. Why am I this way? If I don't give up now, you gonna leave. I pick a fight somehow, make me believe that I too belong here with you. There's room for our fears here too. Can nothing make you leave me behind? I'm safe here even when I lose my mind. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head high. Yeah. Assumed you were gonna leave. At least I never fooled you with these versions of me. Oh, used to hear when I go crazy, go insane. Your love's taking me away. Things that could break everything that you saved, and all I can hear you say is, I too belong here with you. There's room for our fears here too. Can nothing make you leave me behind? I'm safe here even when I lose my mind. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head high, but you know just how to beautify. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head high, but you know just how to beautify.
You're right, Alferg. It's a compilation of me squishing things and playing with gel and like doing... That's what this song sounds like. The poll is up. Do your thing. Make sure you vote for what you want. I hope it opens this time. If it doesn't open, then just tell me what you want to do in chat. Don't be shy. Otherwise, I'm just going to do whatever I want. Good evening. No matter what time it is for you, morning, evening, afternoon, welcome one and all. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back to the Everything GM broadcast with me, And we have 4 options for content today. Are we reading? Are we analyzing music? Are we talking politics? Or are we reacting to some videos? I have a few. There have been a few videos that have like come on my feed at the moment that I've been aching to I have thoughts. So yes. Do let me know what it is that you would like to do. And whatever it is, we'll freaking do it. Oh, goodness. Where have I been? The last 2 days, which has just been normal because we don't usually have streams. I'm really over this song. I really am. I'm gonna go with some lo-fi. Can we do that? Is that something we can do? Anything at all? Playlists. Can we like? Hold on a sec. Ah, here we go. Royalty free. Let's go with royalty free jazz. Why not? Because I love this playlist actually. Yeah, this is awesome. We'll do this. Alright, so. The poll worked, but the script didn't show up for some reason. I had no idea what I clicked. You clicked music, Alfred. Music. Alright, whatever you guys want to do, we're happy to do. If there's reading, music, politics, and video reactions, so you tell me what you want. I think you're the only one in here, so you are actually the one who is in full control over the stream. Guess what? You are I'm drawing a blank. I don't often draw creative blanks. That's me. So you just tell me. I hope everyone's doing okay today. I don't know what it is, but like if it's Thursday, then I kind of I'm tired on Thursdays. I really am. Like it's almost Friday, you know what I mean? And I'm just like kind of feeling it. So we're gonna keep it nice and chilled. Still been playing a lot of Starfield at the moment. Oh, I've tricked out my ship. I just upgraded to B class, which is good. There's like A is the first, B is the second, C is like the most powerful. It goes backwards to what you'd think. And I just got a B class reactor, which means I can like upgrade all of my shit, and that's what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna go and put more weapons on it in a second. So that's gonna be quite fun. I'm still in bed. Alfred, that is terrible. You should be at work. Why aren't you at work? Do you have contractual days off? Do you have paid vacation? That's great. Stay in bed. This is actually really good to do over the music. Congratulations on your paid vacation, so. Okay. So, what would you have voted for? You said you had no idea what you clicked. So we've got reading, music, politics, or video. We want to have a chat about anything else. When? What if I... Sorry, the YouTube has decided to do something absolutely and incredibly stupid as usual. And when they activated the whole like emoji spam thing that you can see there, it covers the first chat message, so I just can't read things, which really sucks. What if I want to teach you Euchre finally? Euchre the board game? I don't know if I have the brain power for that right now. So let's save that for next time. You've got a long weekend, right? I'll stream on Saturday. Saturday morning stream will be Friday evening stream for you. That'll be great, because that'll be perfect. Then it's Friday night, and we'll be able to do it there. But yeah, we can absolutely learn that. I'd love to. Out of the 4 options that I gave you, I feel like I'm in teacher mode now. You can only do, I don't know how many times I've told you that, I don't know how many times I've done this, where I'm in my class and my little 5-year-old babies are saying, my 5-year-olds, I'm giving them like options for like, you want to draw the weather? So we're going to draw the weather. We've got sunny, snowy, rainy, and windy. And then they're like, teacher, what about cloudy? I want to do cloudy. And I'm like, I gave you 4 options. Within those 4 options, I praise your creativity. I really do. I like that you're breaking out of the mold. We love that. But also, unfortunately, I have to move you at the speed of light. So we don't have time to be creative, I'm afraid. My little sweet child. My sweet little child. Order of adjectives, man. Crazy. My sweet little green child. I had to throw in a color because like color usually comes last. So if you say my sweet little green child, that makes sense. But if you want to say my green little sweet child, that sounds weird because adjectives have an order. And it's so crazy how it's like ingrained in us like that. Huh. So it's usually size, color, noun. So you would say big blue whale instead of blue big whale. Although to be fair, blue whale is its name. So big blue whale, or we would go big blue fish or blue big fish. A blue big fish sounds like big fish is the name of the fish. So like a blue big fish. That sounds like it's one name. That reminds me of sunfish. And I don't know if you've seen the copypasta about the sunfish. It's freaking hilarious. It's about it's about how stupid the sunfish is. But then someone replied back to that and was like, you are unreasonably hating on the sunfish. There's actually reasons for all of the things that you just described. So justice for the sunfish is what I'm saying. Politics sounds good. Gosh, say no more. Right. I mean, I could. So basically, the way that I want to do a kind of political thing is I'm going to go... It's kind of going to be a video reaction discussion mixed with politics, is that I'm going to go react to a Jubilee video. And because I think Jubilee videos inspire discussion quite a lot, and also, but not in a good way all the time. Like, I find Jubilee to be frustratingly centrist so much of the time. I mean, they put anti-vaxxers with doctors, and we're like, let's find some middle ground. I'm like, hello? What? What do you mean? They put flat earthers with scientists, and then we're like, maybe both sides have some good points. And I'm like, no. One side is kind of wacky, you know? So I get the purpose behind it, but sometimes they're just like too frustratingly centrist. It's still good to have that on like, what is happening over there? I don't know if you heard that. What are you watching? Is this your animation? Oh. What's this? Oh, this is the company that you're applying to. Okay, cool. Helen has a job interview tomorrow with an animation company. And she's currently watching the she's currently like checking them out and seeing how they're going. You know what? We'll do some politics. Why not? Because no one else is here, I think. Thursdays tend to be quiet and people kind of come in later. But you know what? I love it because it gives Alferg all the power, and that's what you need on your day off. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go and do some politics. Now, depending on the politics, I don't know if it's necessary to do this. I don't know if it's necessary to talk about Israel-Palestine in this community because I feel like everyone's kind of on the same page regarding it, and people who are like not on the same page aren't really in the, like, they don't really talk about that kind of stuff, which is fine. Like, you want to go live your life, like, you know, and not sort of consider a tragedy like this. I mean, I guess you do you. I'm going to focus my attention on it, but I don't know if it's necessary for me to like fully officially give an opinion. I will say though, I don't like having power. Well, you've got all of it now. You're the only one here. I would say I would say free Palestine, and that's it. And I guess if people have questions, and if we want to learn more about it, we can do that. But I think we can talk about what the latest is in the conflict as well. But yeah, I think you know what? Screw it. I think the fact that I'm very obviously on the side of Palestine comes from the fact that I'm a South African, and the fact that as a South African, not only do I have a unique experience, like I'm gonna say as a white South African, I have the Israeli experience essentially of of living in an apartheid state. But I've never lived in one, so because it was kind of legally over and systemically not over, but at least legally it was over by the time that I was born. So I think for me, the easiest, it's a little easier for me to be not pro-Palestine, but I don't know, Palestinians deserve human rights. I don't want to say pro-Palestine it's a sports team, you know. It should be incredibly obvious, regardless of how you feel spiritually or emotionally, that a ceasefire needs to happen and people need to stop dying. That's just the basic requirement. I've heard a lot of people talk about opposition to a ceasefire on the Israel side, and their reasoning for that is because we want to bring the hostages home, not realizing that hostages have already been killed by IDF forces already, because they're targeting Hamas, and then and therefore they've killed some hostages already. That's already come out. So because of the lack of ceasefire, no one's able to bring the hostages home, and they're starting to die. So it's just a ceasefire benefits everyone. There's just no other option. And with that, over the years, I also used to be a two-stater in terms of what's the solution to the big conflict, and now I am firmly in the one-state solution camp. I don't think there's an alternative. I cannot see one, because over the years, the Israeli government has made sure that Palestine is slowly but surely geographically erased. There's not much left geographically of Palestine, and it's also broken up into separate territories. Obviously, you've got Gaza and the West Bank, but within that sort of big portion of the rest of Palestine that's outside of Gaza, it's divided. It's like little islands in the middle of Israel. And that's purposeful. That's been done for sure on purpose. And again, that moves back to me as a South African, and that unique experience, or that the history that my country has regarding apartheid states. The South African apartheid government also divided the native African population into what they called homelands. Not only did they do the same thing as Israel, they treated them as sovereign states legally, despite the fact that they'd relegated them to lands with no natural resources and no money to speak of, no wealth to grow on. But they had also declared them as sovereign nations, and they didn't want anything to do with them. They'd advertised to the rest of the world, who didn't buy it at all, that these were separate countries now, because we wanted to do a separate but equal kind of thing. It was called a separate development project for native Africans. And that, I see what's happening to the map of Palestine right now, and it's literally the same thing. It's just the same thing. The Israeli government is dividing them in almost exactly the same capacity. And that, to me, there's not much of Palestine left. So if you had a two-state solution, you would have Palestine as multiple islands within Israel. They would have to have Israel's permission for everything to get through from one island to the next. They would fly over Israel's airspace every time they took a passenger plane. It's just not a tenable solution. And that is the fault of Israel. So Israel, who's talked about all of this, sort of, two-state, and they've sort of offered that. Meanwhile, while they offer a two-state with one hand, they chip away at Palestine with the other hand and ensure the continued benefit of a two-state solution for them, to the extent that now a two-state solution would erase Palestine and the Palestinian people. Experts have already weighed in on the Palestinian conflict, specifically in Gaza, saying that the Palestinian culture in Gaza has been destroyed. I mean, that's not tenable. It's not a tenable solution to suddenly go, okay, now you're independent, now you're your own state. That one state is the only solution that I can think of as an alternative for this. Now, I'm not an expert on this situation at all, nor am I especially educated on it, but I have done a lot of reading, and I have done research. And so I do... I've done research for a couple of years. It hasn't just come out now. Obviously, a lot more of the world are talking about it since the 7th of October. But I think, I mean, this has been going on for 60 years, 75 years since the end of World War II. So, yeah, a two-state solution is no longer tenable. One-state solution is the only way. It's the only way that I can see this conflict coming to an end. And I know, and then the response from a lot of people is, would that be very messy? And to which the reply is what's going on right now, like, worth preventing a one-state solution? Is that not also messy? Is it not worse? I would argue quantifiably that it is. Man, here's me saying, I'm not sure if I should give my thoughts, because I'm not sure if my thoughts are like warranted on Israel-Palestine, because so many people already give their thoughts, but, here I am. And I also do believe that if you have a voice, you should speak up when you see injustice, and so here's what I'm doing. I think if we are to talk about it, it should be in a more informational way than in an argument for why you should be with Palestine. That's a good point. It's a pity that I read that after I went off on my opinion, but I think if I am to cover it, then I am gonna go with more informative, and I think I would also want to talk about it with more people in the chat so that we could have more of a dialogue, because something as important as this, I don't think I don't think I would want to have this just on, like, I know, like, you're here, but like on my own, you know what I mean? Like without any kind of dialogue with at least a group of people to join in with it. Yeah, I think if I'm going to talk about it more in depth, it's going to be based on that for sure. Yeah. But yeah, my stance and the stance of me as the facilitator of this community is that Palestinian people deserve human rights, that a ceasefire is the only way to not only ensure that hostages of Israel are returned, but also that the bloodshed stops. And that's it. That's my position. The information and the kind of story and the history behind it we can go into at a later date, but if that's of interest to anyone. But I think for now that's my stance, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Yeah. I mean, we've had considering like what happened on the 7th of October and how many people were killed and stuff, we've had, on the Palestinian side, Palestinians have experienced a 7th of October like basically 7 times over or whatever, like with the amount of people that have been killed since then. Okay. Right, so I guess what I'm gonna do, maybe, is there a Jubilee, like, is there a Jubilee video that is like, oh, baby. Former conservatives versus former liberals. Wait, is this the one with Hunter Avallone? Oh, yeah, he's there. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, they also have the whole, like, who is not this person, like 6 lesbians and 1 secret straight girl. We could do that as well. Yeah. Okay. 6 K-pop fans versus 1 secret hater. You know what? That's not politics, but it is a video. I guess it's like a. It's a video discussion that we could have, even if it's not politics. But that sounds pretty relevant considering this is where I live. Okay. What do you guys think? Like, we got a few options here. Let me share the screen and you can tell me what you like the look of, Alfred. That first one sounds horrifying. What, former what, the K-pop one, or are we talking like former liberals turned conservatives? Okay, so this is the channel, so here we go. This is what you this is what could prompt discussions for sure. Former conservative, former liberals. Let's do it, dude. Why not? I've seen some clips from the Hunter Avalone thing, but you know what? We're going to talk about it. It's going to be educational. It's going to be great. Okay. So, oh wow, my ad blocker worked. Cool. Sometimes it plays ads, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a 40-minute video. This will take up the stream. So, here we go. This is former conservatives versus former liberals. Middle ground. I wonder if conservatives and liberals have middle ground. First of all, oh god, this is gonna get so heated as well. I know who's who. Like you just know, dude. What's interesting, I don't know if anyone knows who this guy is, but this is Hunter Avalone. He used to be a hella conservative. He's now turned liberal, and he's been giving some. He's pretty much had like one of the biggest like 180s in the sort of political discussion space. Like he just went from so far right to like all the way back. However, I'm gonna preface this by saying something that's very important that I hope everyone listens to. And that is that there's a lot of empty space here before I do that. Hold on. Let me, you know what? Let's do this. Let's be a normal streamer for a second. And we'll just kind of hang on, I do have everything like hold on. I just want to check if everything is like extended correctly. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, cool. We're just going to be normal. I think I saw a clip from this. Okay, cool. So, essentially, I want to preface this by saying something very important. The opposite of conservative, the opposite of right-wing is not liberal. And the biggest the biggest obstacle to productive leftist success especially in American politics is the fact that liberal is seen as the left, and therefore leftist thinkers and leftist people essentially are considered so far radically left that that people automatically think that they want to start, shooting things and I want to say start a revolution, but that's also something that people genuinely want to do too. The point is that the opposite of conservative, the opposite of right wing is not liberal. Liberals are a center, if not center right school of thought, especially modern like neoliberalism. Neoliberalism is the idea that it's still centers around the idea of human rights and human freedoms, but it does not extend that to the class war, nor does it extend it to systems of or to criticisms of capitalism itself as a causer or as a cause of many of the social justice issues that liberals seek to eradicate. So I really, really want to make that distinction, and so many people don't do it. I really want to make the distinction. I am not a liberal. I am a leftist. I if my interest in social justice is present at all, I never ever want it to be associated with liberalism or neoliberalism ever. That's not what I want at all, because my sense of social justice inherently attacks capitalism as an economic system and the class war that we're all in. That's the baseline of thought that I take. So, conservatives and liberals, not opposites. In the American political discourse, they are, because the American kind of the way that we've gone from, wait, which one is left here? So I'm left here, but you're going to see me here. So from left to right, where you think that left is like super liberal and right is conservative, what it should be is conservative being right wing and left wing being socialist, communist, Marxist, anarchist, things like that. True leftism. And in the middle is neoliberalism and libertarianism, which is more to the right. And then as things have progressed in American politics, because America has never had a truly leftist politician or a truly leftist position in enough power to actually make a difference in American society towards a leftist way, the political sort of slider has shifted this way, so that now liberal is considered your left, and your right wing is now considered so far right that it's just inhuman. So that's an important preface. Right. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? This is going to be great. I like I said, I already know who's who. I don't think I need to do much like mental arithmetic here.
Oh, I'm not going to participate in your delusion. You'll never meet a Republican that uses pronouns. It's just a fact.
We're in for a wild ride, people. In for a wild ride. I'm going to take out my phone quickly and put this here so I don't have to like alt-tab all the time. We're going to pause a lot. This is a discussion. This is political. We're getting... I would like to... I already want to die. I just already want to die. Please, just let me go. You know what I mean? Where do I even? Can I put this in a place that's comfy, please? Like, I don't want to shrink my camera anymore, because then I'm just tiny. You know, I'd like to make myself bigger. You know what? Yeah, we'll have it there. This is fine. This is fine. Okay. Cool. You'll never see a Republican using pronouns. Very interesting. I watched a very interesting video the other day about how someone said, I use any pronouns. And they go, okay, so how should I refer to you as? And then they said, you would say you, because you're talking to me. And then the response is, okay, but like, what if I was like speaking to you with someone else? And then the person said, I would prefer that you not talk about me, please. Like, just don't refer to me at all. Which I thought was a great response. Isn't you a pronoun? Correct. Now, of course, it's very obvious to go past this and see what she's actually trying to say. But it's way funnier to, on the surface, just talk about how hilariously sort of eroding of any semblance of English that is, because of course any like yeah, it shows that she doesn't. People who say these things, they show that they don't really care about the substance of the argument. They just want these like sort of hot buzzwords and things like that. Okay, let's actually watch the video and see.
It's only
Everybody
the left.
uses pronouns. Just
Everyone
some people choose to
uses. Okay, well,
announce
my
their
pronouns now for the rest of the time are pretty princess.
That's
And
not
So an adjective and a noun.
a pronoun.
What do you mean?
Those are not even pronouns.
Okay, so what are your
That's
zizes,
grammatic.
them, zer, he, she?
We are approaching the 150th
Okay, so like great start, I guess.
episode of Middle Ground, and we need your help to continue making more episodes. Join our Middle Ground Patreon.
Whoa.
Ground, and we need your help to continue making more episodes.
Okay, whoa. Are these what they plan on doing? What? Hello? Okay, so firstly, this I'm genuinely interested in. This I'm also genuinely, like, just as an amusing kind of thing. This is going to be pretty fun, I think. This is going to be pretty informative. This is crazy. This is going to be very... the stories that come out of prisoners versus prison guards is going to be cool. This is going to be rough. Like, I don't know how... This is... I mean, this is a terrible idea to me. To me, this is... It's going to get so many views, but I don't know if I would put these people through that. Like, these people do not deserve a platform to speak at all, let alone have their ideas be viewed on the same level as, you know, people who have survived something like that. Billionaires versus socialists, I think, would have quite a, I guess, like, I think this would be an interesting one. It would be it would be cool to actually see a leftist talk, so I hope they get, like, actual socialists. But hello, this one? Holy shit. Can I see Hassan versus Ben Shabibo, please? Oh my god. That would be absolutely incredible. Holy shit. Okay, I'm actually going to shrink this so that it's kind of... I want to... Yeah, I want to just, like... I'm going to move this for the last time. I promise. For the last time. We're going to move this over here. And I just want to, like, isolate the video so that we don't... So that we can focus on that. Oh, you know what I could just do? Because I don't think before I act, is I could just go full screen. But no, I don't think about that. I just think about myself. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Look at that. Very cool. Hassan Piker versus Ben Shapiro, I would see. Wait, you want Holocaust survivors to budge on what happened during the Holocaust? Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you do this? This is a terrible idea. This is absolutely a terrible idea. What's up? What are you tying? Okay. Don't we have enough yarn? Did you finish all the yarn? So why are you buying more? Okay. Sure. Okay, cool. It's just yarn. Yarn.
Hey. I can't make nothing.
That's fair. It's not a range of colors. I get that. No, for sure. Okay, here we go.
Episodes. Join our Middle Ground Patreon community and make Middle Ground with us.
Okay, here we go. How did I know, by the way? How did I know? It's the outfit. Look, most of them are white, or at least white looking. So I was gonna say, like, I was gonna mention the caucasity, but can you feel the energy that's coming from the bottom line right now? Can you feel the kind of can you feel the caucasity? Because that's like, yeah. Alfred says I need to let you have your fun with yarn. And I agree. I should. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, like, already have what she needed and she was just buying more just because.
What?
Which I guess is also fine, but, you know. Alfred says that you should have fun with your yarn and I should leave you alone. Isn't the one former liberal the host? What? No ways. Really? Shit. I'm not sure about that. I don't know who works for Jubilee.
My former political views were cult-like.
Oi, dude. I mean, wow. I mean, everyone on the left should step
Can
forward.
the agreeers please step forward?
Everyone on the left. Absolutely. Oh my god. Damn. Okay, of course they're gonna do it on the right because they just like... Wait, I need subtitles for this. There we go. Hold on. There we go. here.
I think both are just two separate cults, because which is so funny. And I think also sides have like ironically kind of switched, because as a Republican now, I'm like so anti-war. I'm anti-sending money to all these different countries that are not ours, while people are sick from the water and children are starving.
Okay, so why you realize that your party is literally the military-industrial complex, like personified, right? Your representatives in your government are funding the military more than anyone else. They are pushing for the biggest military spending bills year after year after year. Yes, the party of small government. Yes, until they need you, and then it's wow. Please give me a corporate bailout.
Anti-pharmaceutical, anti-big government, anti all these things. And I'm like, that is original liberalism. So I'm like, I think I'm more like independent, but I register and I vote as far right as I possibly can.
As far right as I possibly can. Okay, cool. And yet, I consider myself an independent. Very cool. Very cool. Jubilee isn't a, like, show host? No. It's behind the camera. While stripping the military members' rights. Oh, yeah, exactly. The most anti-military... The most anti-military, like... It's pro-military and anti-soldier. And it's so... Bless you. It's so, like, surface level obvious. It's crazy.
As well.
I think both sides are very tribal.
Yeah.
But in terms of cult, at this moment in time, I think the left is more cult-like. I was in it for 20 years.
Again, liberal is not on the left. We have to do this. We have to make sure that everyone knows here that liberal is not left. Liberalism is not leftism.
What's known today as the woke left, but we used to call it social justice left, progressive left.
Known by conservatives as woke.
Correct. I mean, yeah, you know.
Right, but here are some of the characteristics that I think make it more cult-like than perhaps the conservative side. One is that if you had questions, you had to check your privilege, or there was always some line that they would use to get you to stop asking questions. Just sort of cult-like. And then the other thing was there was this encouragement to separate from people who didn't agree with you. And so
Okay, cool. Time to talk about the paradox of tolerance. This is something that exists in the community quite often. This encouragement
to separate from people who didn't agree with you.
Right. Someone who doesn't agree with you, and someone who views certain groups of people as not being worthy of the same rights as you, simply by virtue of skin color or orientation or lifestyle or anything like that. That is not a difference of agreement. That's a difference of values. And no, I don't want to be around people who don't share those values. I don't want to be around people who say things like that. And that should be fine. It doesn't mean that I want to come after them. I would prefer that they come around to a perspective that allows them to accept more people from more backgrounds. But this is not a difference of agreement. American conservatism is not difference of agreement. It's eradication of groups. It's upholding of institutions of some of the worst oppression that we've ever seen, that is getting worse every year. I'm specifically talking about economic oppression. But also, yes, there's all sorts of other types of oppression as well. This is not a simple disagreement. It's not and therefore the tolerance paradox comes in. The paradox of tolerance means that in order to have a society that is tolerant, you must be intolerant of intolerance. And that means that basically, if I would like to create a good world, and someone else, and I say, everyone's welcome, right? Which I do for the beginning of my stream. And I say, everyone's welcome. And then let's say someone comes in and says, I disagree with you about certain things. Am I welcome? And I say, yeah, sure. And then the person says, okay, so what I disagree with you on is that these people that are in your world right now, like some of them should die. And I go, oh, well, I mean, I guess everyone's welcome, so you're welcome too. And then a few weeks later, hey, why are these people dead? That's not good. Well, because, you said everyone was welcome. And then I say, okay, but like, I didn't mean that. You shouldn't be killing people. You shouldn't be oppressing them like that. To which the response is, you're silencing me. you're suppressing my freedom of speech and freedom of expression. This is a simple difference of opinion. I just don't agree with you, and now you're silencing me. That is the paradox of tolerance. I need to kick that person out as soon as possible, as soon as they come up with these ideas. And over time, we've become better and better at noticing how these ideas present themselves, so that as soon as an idea arrives, we can go, that's not good. However, having said that, yeah, so by the way, yeah, I wanna ask her, this is a very good question. I wonder what kind of questions she was asking to get those responses. I rarely ever saw responses like that to genuine questions from people willing to learn. Exactly. She is gonna come along, and basically what she means is she's going to ask incredibly inflammatory and antagonizing questions, which she knows are inflammatory and antagonizing. And then when she gets a response that is even a tiny bit hostile, the response will be, well, so much for the tolerant left, so much for the woke left, you know? Despite the fact that, again, we're still talking about liberals who are not on the left, it's still I want to know examples. I want to know what kind of questions she wants to ask. If I were here in this thing, I would go, okay, what kind of questions would you ask? And then I would respond. And yeah, again, as you've said, Alfred, I have never, ever, ever seen anyone who responds to a good faith learning question like that. And if they do, this is another point that I make about this that I think is important to realize. Many of the people who say, you know, check your privilege and like all those things, the people who react the strongest and the most emotionally to these sorts of things are usually younger. And I want us to take a second and instead of dismiss like this woman is doing, and instead of going so much for the woke left, I want us to try and understand why this young generation of people who are faced with the wealth of the internet and any information they want and all the information they don't want being thrown at them all the time, every day, they're currently bearing the brunt of a class war that's been going on for hundreds of years. They are dealing with a level of economic inequality across the world that we've never seen before in some countries. Many of the most developed nations in the world are seeing collapses of social systems and social structures. Human rights abuses are rampant, and these people are growing up and soaking in that information everywhere. And now you turn around and expect them to behave reasonably towards you when you are asking antagonizing questions. Like, I want to use pretty princess pronouns. Like, all it requires is a surface level of empathy to understand that this rubber band effect from being silenced and oppressed for so long to going all the way to the other side, as soon as you're released, you end up responding emotionally and responding very strongly to these kinds of things as well. That is completely understandable, and it is so unfair for us to expect perfection from people who react like this. We must all exercise empathy in this situation. Always. And when someone reacts like this, instead of immediately protecting yourself and feeling like you're being attacked, ask the question, why? Why is this happening? Why are they reacting like this? Could I have framed my question differently? Am I being a prick? Because the answer is most likely yes. And even if they are reacting angrily, strongly, or emotionally to you, there is a reason for this that extends far beyond your narrow perspective as an individual. I'll say the word individual. I'll talk about hyper-individualism later. But yeah, anyway.
And so I slowly over time like whittled my world down to just people who were in the social justice left. And there was really, for people who left, which I...
The social justice left is just the left. Like, the left is for social justice. I don't know any leftist around me that like doesn't stand for social justice. It's a very nonsense way to say that.
Did eventually, which was a long process. It's a bit like you become an apostate. You don't just leave or have different opinions. It's like once you leave, you can't come back.
Okay, having said that,
That is a cult. It's like Scientology.
Well,
All right, so let's listen. I want to listen to what they have to say over here. But what I will say is, I think that, and these people are not ready to have this conversation, by the way, because they're not going to come at it in a good faith manner. These people are not ready to have the conversation that I'm going to bring up now. And when I mean these people, I mean the conservatives. But the left's biggest issue is the factionalism within them, and the fact that we must remember to always unite ourselves under what grounds leftist thought, and that is the class war, that is the economic struggle. And the manner in which we want to solve these problems is what causes a lot of division and what causes a lot of infighting in leftist spaces. But I think one of the biggest things we have to remember is no matter how far left you are, the thing that unites all of us on the left is a wish to see social justice systemically achieved, is a wish to realize, to undermine, and to dismantle the systems that were put in place to oppress us. And that understanding, that systemic and structural attitude towards the world is what unites all leftists, for sure. What it sounds like to me is that she just got better at picking friends. Hey, what's up, Ash? Just looking at and hearing her voice makes me think of the blonde woman in the dress loves MTG and Bobo the Clown. MTG? Magic the Gathering? What? This woman here loves Magic the Gathering? What do you mean? MTG and I thought the card game. I was about to say, how dare you slander my card game. I also think, like, what are you talking about? Ash, I'm afraid I don't understand the MTG and Bobo the Clown references, but you can explain them to me and I'll probably laugh with you. Okay, let's listen to this person, because I think they might have something cool to say, but we'll see.
Because I came from a really religious background, and there's a lot of shame around believing something other than what you're taught.
Okay, so speaking about cult-like activity, I am not a... Oh, darling. Would you mind? Just a tad. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not a, like... I'm not anti-religion. Ooh. A cracker with cheese and ham. Very cool. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. Ah, Bobo the Clown. I get it. Very cool. MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, she looks a bit like Marjorie Taylor Greene, just slightly younger, to be honest. So, I'm not anti-religion. Inherently, I think that fundamentalist interpretations of religion have led to global oppression. I think that I believe that capitalism and fundamentalist religion have gone hand in hand. The industrial development of colonial Europe was tied with and given authority by religion, by Christianity specifically. And so I think that has played a role. And that, for sure, for example, if we're speaking about colonial Europe, the divine right to rule was an authority given from the Pope, who was literally chosen by God, to the monarchs of Europe to go forth to unknown lands and conquer them. And so not only did they have an economic reason to do so, they also had a religious reason, and that made them believe fully that they were in the right to do this. And they would never question that what they were doing was wrong, because they had God literally on their side. That had nothing to do with the texts of religion. That has nothing to do with any of the actual spirit of the religion itself. And it has everything to do with the Pope and the monarchs spreading the message that they want, so that they can hold on to power and they can hoard their wealth. That's it. So that is what religion has done. It's not religion itself. It's how it has been portrayed over the centuries, and probably millennia as well. And that version, that interpretation, the colonial mindset, the fundamentalist mindset, almost exclusively aligns with the conservative mindset politically. And therefore, I can't see anything more cult-like than something like that. So yeah. The Beetlejuice musical woman? That was wild. Wait, is this her? Huh, I'm not sure. I'm gonna eat a cracker.
Because of that, it makes you feel like you can't express any questions without being told that you're going to hell, you're going to be exiled from your family. And so when I started thinking a little bit outside of the lines of what I was always told, family members literally to this day will not speak to me, will not look at me in family gatherings where you're just supposed to be like, you're my family, aren't you supposed to love me endlessly? And in turn, they've exiled me because I don't believe the things that they believe.
So one side can do it and it's okay. What this? Sorry, let me contextualize this. The other woman, the conservative woman, was just talking about how her side doesn't do that, but it very obviously does, and we have a lot more empirical evidence for fundamentalist conservative ways of thinking ostracizing and excommunicating members of their community for things that they disagree with. Far more of those examples exist than do on the left of anything. Again, as Alfred said, if you have like, Lauren Popert, yeah. If you have, that's the Beetlejuice musical. Oh, okay, yeah, yes, I know. I think I understand the reference now. If you are, as Alfred said before, no, it's not a real argument to sort of. It's not a real argument to say that you've been shut down in leftist spaces just for asking questions. The idea of just asking questions, that phrase has been ruined for me, because in practice it's always bad faith, it's always antagonizing, it's always instigating. So yeah, I'm not anti-religion, but then I remember people like Matt Powell exist, and it makes a strong case for it. See, again, oh yes, please. I love. It's very delicious. But again, a person, right? A person. It's the religion had nothing. The religion cannot act on its own without people to propagate it. It does not. It does not have its own method of propagation. People have to do it. That's why I believe religion can achieve really good things. I believe religion can give people peace. I'm not religious myself, but I believe religion can give people peace and direction and hope and love. And if that's what people need to get them through the day, I'm not going to judge them for that. But it obviously comes down to how you propagate it. And this conversation, I have pretty much had this I think I've had this conversation 1,000 times with different people during my teenage years, because that's when I first started to think about this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think that aggressive atheists just kind of cringe, and obviously aggressive fundamentalists are just super weird and damaging. But yeah, and I'm also not trying to both sides things. Political discussions, guys. Here we go.
And I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
Agreed,
I am ironically like pretty far known as far right in my community, and then ironically very leftist at times, because
What? What do you mean?
like pretty far known as far right in my community, and then ironically very leftist at times, because you can't please everyone. But I have never cut off a person because of their political beliefs in my life, but everyone on the left did it to me.
Oh, cool, dude. So basically, you get to claim moral high ground because you're like, I consider myself far right, therefore I have extremely far right views about gay and trans people. And oh no, gay and trans people don't like me now. I guess people are cutting me out of their lives, but I would never do that to them, even though I want them dead. Like, it's not, the math is not mathing, guys. It's just not mathing. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I love the whole,
Yeah, agreed.
By the way,
Agreed,
I am ironically like
ironically, is a fun way of saying that.
pretty far known as far right in my community, and then ironically very leftist at times.
I'm very leftist at times, but also far right. Very cool. Very cool.
Because you can't please everyone. But I have never cut off a person because of their political beliefs in my life, but everyone on the left did it to me.
I will say from my own experience, but coming from the opposite. So, especially when the George Floyd incidents were happening, it was kind of, a consensus that you should be BLM, rah, 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 all cops are bad. And just me
Which they are.
questioning that within my own circles, it's like there's a lot of pushback and it feels a little awkward because I'm just, it's literally just asking questions.
Bro. Oi. Yeah. I think that this is I think this might be a uniquely American issue, that people are very aggressive with their opinions on that side of the world. And I'm going to say why I think that is. And the American in chat can, you can give your individual perspective because obviously that has more authority than mine. But from what I have seen on all American media that I consume, which is a lot because America does enjoy spreading that, I have found that that American culture and society is literally designed to divide people. It is designed to create this kind of animosity and anger between people so that they can continue fighting each other and not fighting the systems that keep them oppressed. So I think what can be very frustrating to people who do want to learn more is that a lot of people who are in a position to answer their questions don't really want to answer their questions because they're just so angry right now, and they just want to they just want to burn something, which is completely understandable, and something that, like, if people want to protest for these sorts of against these sorts of systems, that's something that you should be supporting. But if you want to know why, it can be frustrating to just be met with people who don't feel the energy to answer those questions, which is, again, completely understandable. So you really have to, I think all of this comes back to a sense of individualism and a sense of the first response that you have to being treated to having your questions rejected is that you've been attacked. And it's such an unreasonable act of sensitivity. Just distance yourself. Let yourself just let go a little bit from this sort of tightly woven this tightly woven group of ideals that you hold. Just don't compromise the strength, but just allow them to flow through you rather than define your soul. Because then you treat every small criticism of your ideal or every response to you that is even a little bit hostile as an attack on your soul. And I think that hyper-individualism and that hyper-individualist theory, something that is taught very much in the West, is incredibly damaging. And this is the result of that. I think what we're seeing from these two people, obviously from the other one in the dress, but we're seeing the result of hyper-individualism in the education system.
If I did have to, point a finger, I would point it at the left or the liberals for feeling attacked by words that are said on the other side.
Oh, cool, dude. Cool, dude. Not like for the last 10 minutes you've been talking about being cancelled by the left for things that you disagree on. Like, that's exactly the same thing.
Because there's not a lot of, conservatives that are like, oh, you said there's more genders. I'm offended. I'm personally attacked by that.
What? What? What do you mean? They're everywhere. Like, what? There aren't people. Are we running it back?
That are like, oh, you said there's attacked by words that are said on the other side. Because there's not a lot of, conservatives that are like, oh, you said there's more genders. I'm offended. I'm personally attacked by that.
Hello? Have you been to a comment section anywhere? What? What is going on? What do you mean? What do you mean? They're fucking everywhere. Good Lord. Dude doesn't have Facebook. Yeah, exactly. It's only okay to cancel things when the right does it, don't you know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, so again, if this is a platform. This is what happens when the world as we know it is running on a conservative basis. Capitalism by nature is conservative because it wants to preserve itself at the expense of other people. The people who benefit from capitalism, or the people who are indoctrinated by the mantra and the propaganda issued by capitalism, are by nature more inclined to be conservative because of the way that it wants to keep itself going and it wants to sustain itself at all costs. And so that means that the world, because the world is mostly capitalist, that means the world is therefore mostly conservative aligned. And therefore these people, this playing field is not equal or even. The people on the left, and again, I stress, liberals are not leftists, but the people on the left, if you want to be a leftist, you are already starting at the bottom of the hill. All you need to do to be a conservative is just stand at the top of the hill and roll mud downhill, and it'll hit the leftists as they try and climb up to get to your level. Because you already have all of the cards, all of the economic power, and all of the systemic influence has been crafted for you, for that kind of worldview. So for anyone who wants to challenge that, it's already an uphill battle. And then you get to sit on the top and claim moral superiority, and yet you do the same things that you accuse the others of doing. Also, get offended at words as if most of those words are used in a derogatory way. Yeah, exactly. Rages about woke cancel culture, bans books it doesn't like. I mean, yeah, exactly. Seriously, that's a free market work. Yeah, that's how, I mean, yes, that's exactly how the free market works. And that's why it doesn't work. There is no, there is no end game for that. It will just implode. We are just using our rights within a free market, but because it's for a reason you don't like, all of a sudden it's bad. Let me read that again. We're just using our rights for a free market, but just because it's for a reason you don't like, all of a sudden it's bad. Are you talking about him? Oh, yes, yes. Wasn't this the freedom of expression that you wanted? Like, you should be celebrating this. I think the funniest part is that these people who complain about the left supposedly canceling people, this is what freedom of speech does. You're a freedom of speech absolutist. If you're a conservative in America, you probably do believe that. That's what that means. That means I can say what I want, you can say what you want, and we let the chips fall where they may. It's a horrible way to live. Horrible way to live. But that's what you want. So if we're now participating in the world that you've built, then why are you upset? Hey, Rain's here. What's up? Okay, let's keep going.
That are like, oh, you said there's more genders. I'm offended. I'm personally attacked by that.
That's literally only one side.
Yeah, it is.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
Okay, I want to hear this.
I honestly think that both sides have very tribalistic tendencies at a time. As far as the question, like, were my beliefs personally cult-like? I don't think that I was in a cult. And I mean, even I think you mentioned that, like, conservatives don't get offended by speech as much, but conservatives get offended by pronouns. They got offended by Mr. Potato Head. They get offended by all kinds.
Really stupid things.
Yeah, they get very triggered also. And
Yeah,
for
they
me,
do.
when I left the right, that was something I noticed, because I started off as like anti-SJW, triggered feminist stuff, and I'm like, the right is kind of becoming this way too a little bit with some.
What do you mean becoming? They were always this way. The moment that you try and uproot the system at all, it's the immediate pushback is there. It's been there for ages. They just found new words to describe it, you know? I think it's always hard to look at someone and go both sides. Whenever anyone says both sides, I immediately want to cringe, because I hate the way that that's been used. I think the term both sides has been ruined for me. But again, it is very important to realize that without being a cringy enlightened centrist, you don't have to. Sometimes there are nothing is clear cut. There's never what I mean by nothing is clear cut is there's never one hard and fast rule that you can follow when you pick a side for things. So sometimes one side is very clearly worse than the other or better than the other. Sometimes they're both in the wrong. Sometimes they're both in the wrong. Sometimes none of them are in the wrong. It's like you have to make that decision on a case-by-case basis. There is no blanket term for painting everything like that, you know? And that's not centrism. Centrism is taking a both sides stance no matter what it is, because you feel like that's not committing yourself to either side, and therefore it makes you smarter. John Rawls can suck my balls because I have to work with trying to understand his philosophy, but otherwise I'm doing well. What was John Rawls's philosophy, Rain? Please tell me. Freedom of speech doesn't equal freedom of consequences. You're allowed to say what you like, but that doesn't mean people have to listen to you or be okay with it. For sure. And also, I don't believe in absolute freedom of speech either. I'm not an absolutist at all. I'm South African. We have laws against hate speech. You're not allowed to say those things. Someone went to jail years ago. It was a huge scandal. I loved it. There was this woman who got pulled over by the cops, and they were black cops, and she yelled racial slurs at them. I think it was like 57 times she said a word in South Africa that we don't use, and they arrested her and she went to jail for racist hate speech. Like, it's big. It's a big deal, and it's good. It's good. Now, I'm a prison abolitionist, so but holding someone accountable is for this kind of thing is completely, and I don't think that people should be allowed to say some things. The only reason it works in America is because both of our sides are the same side. Again, yeah, I don't think there is a true leftist movement in America at all. I think it's too small to make any kind of impact right now. I think that right now any leftist movements are currently on the ground working within their communities, and there needs to be a huge unification movement if they're to do anything in reality. Even then, freedom of speech only protects you from the government in ways. It still doesn't mean people have to let you spew your bile if they don't want you to. Yeah. Again, hyper-individualism means that people think that freedom of speech means only freedom for my speech and not for others. But if you want to talk about freedom of speech, it really is designed to be able to criticize the government without fear of reproach or imprisonment. It's not the freedom to call your neighbor an asshole and then for them to have the freedom to shoot you, you know? That's not the intention of the law of freedom of expression. So it's still not even both sides in the end, but yeah. You can be aware of the sides and still pick a side. Yeah, exactly. It really just comes down to how much research you've done and how educated you are on both sides. So like me, for example, I'm aware of what the conservatives believe in. I'm aware of the right-wing ideology. I've done my research. I know what each group of ideologies believe all across the spectrum of political ideologies, and I've chosen one based on one that aligns with my values and based on one that I think propels us into a society that we can be proud of, and one that protects people who are vulnerable, and one who leads us into a more modern age. That's simply what I've done. They're not mutually exclusive, and knowing that ought to encourage you to really consider why you picked the side you picked. That is the most important question, and I think the fact that we don't, the lack of asking why, the silencing of why questions has been something that just frustrates me so much in political discourse. It's the first question that I ask when I talk about this stuff. Okay, John Rawls was a political philosopher with a leaning towards modern liberalism. If I understand it correctly, his most famous work was The Theory of Justice. I'm not gonna lie, the name is actually familiar. I might have studied him. But yeah, modern liberalism, not a fan. That's another thing Americans don't understand. Their constitutional right to freedom of speech only applies in America, and not all countries see it as the same. Yeah, I think, again, hyper-individualism does lend itself to that for sure. Alfred, if at any point you feel like we're being hard on you, it's very much not personal. Remember, and this is also very important to remember, we're not judging individuals here. We're judging the role that people play in society, and that has nothing to do with who you are as a person. And we talk about the effect that a country's culture has on a country's people all the time. It just so happens that we talk about America a lot because it has made itself culturally the most important country in the world. And unfortunately so. if you feel like we're being, yeah, I know when you use American in this case, it's not about me. Again, yeah, it's also not about any individual American. It's because all the Americans that I know are great people. It's institutionalized. We again, we do not judge people on their individual merits. We judge people on the institutional role that they play in society. It's very possible. Apparently, he was quite a big figure in that regard, and take liberalism with a bit of salt because I only have surface level understanding so far. Oh, okay, cool. Let's keep going. We're 4 minutes into 40 minutes. Jesus.
Things like very offended and triggered.
I would like to push back a little bit about conservatives being offended by pronouns. I think it's more so that they are being forced and to acquiesce to the pronouns of other people, which is, a form of, controlling speech.
Well, don't conservatives get really mad like when the whole pronouns and bio thing?
No,
like,
like,
oh, look, you have pronouns.
I get what both of you are saying, because my thing is like, why would I ever care if you have pronouns in bio, but I will never call you by
I think
them.
it's more that people.
So I don't care, but I care enough to resist it. Like, so I do care a little. Oh, God. We come back to it. Free speech absolutism is a disease, as is hyper-individualism. And we see that on full display here.
People just view it as a tribal signifier. So in the same way that someone might view, oh, that person has a cross in their profile.
Yeah, I mean,
faith.
like, I've definitely, like, if I see pronouns in someone's bio, I'll roll my eyes. It doesn't mean that I, like, hate the person or not, but it is going to signify to me.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, it doesn't mean that I hate the person. I'll just roll my eyes because they're cringe. And also, that totally invalidates everything that they're doing with what they're saying in their bio. That's cringe to me. Oh, God.
Me. In 95% of cases, I'm going to know exactly what
I know exactly who you are almost, so
are.
I'm just going to stay away from you.
You're going to assume that you know.
I know who you are, so I'm going to stay away from you. But also, did you know that she's a leftist sometimes? Like, it's wild.
A bunch because someone
But
has
why,
pronouns
though?
in their bio.
Because I'm not going to participate in your delusion. And my thing is, like, you'll never meet a Republican that uses pronouns. It's just a fact.
This is the funniest part of the whole video. It's so great.
It's only
Everybody
the left.
uses pronouns. Just
Everyone
some people choose to
uses-
announce
Okay, well, my
their
pronouns now for the rest of the time are pretty princess.
Okay, so this is basically... Right. I hate using the word straw man, but it is obviously a straw man. It's taking a fake argument that no one's ever making and then attacking that as if that's what we've been saying the whole time. It's absolutely not true. And it's so obvious to see because as soon as the argument becomes this ludicrous, like as soon as what she's trying to do is take it to a ridiculous level so that she can dismantle the credibility of all of it. And it's just, it's so obvious. It's really, it's just cringe. It really is just cringe. Yeah, I thought, wasn't she the one who agreed that who agreed her side doesn't do that kind of stuff? Yeah. Of course.
That's not a pronoun.
What do you mean?
Those are not even pronouns.
Okay, so what are your
That's
ze,
grammatic.
them, zer, he, she?
Yeah, I think
Great,
that pronouns...
pause. Sorry. I want to pull it back to quotes. Okay?
Circling back to the cult idea, we
Thank you, moderator. But also, like, I also was kind of tempted to have them continue.
kind of straight and went to pronouns, which I think is, again, it's like a kind of a hot topic. The media really makes you believe that one side is more of a cult than the other. That's all subjective. Some of the people that are on my side, it's cultish, but it doesn't mean everyone is.
Well, let me give you an example, like, because I agree with you that the media is fomenting these, like, right side, left side cults. 100% I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, okay. And also misrepresenting both sides. And remember, excuse me, one side rather. Remember that the media, it is important to contextualize this systemically, structurally.
It's like right side, left side.
Yeah.
Okay, so the media fomenting left side, right side cults. The media is absolutely responsible for formulating many of these people's opinions and creating many of these people's value systems. The media has completely abused their responsibility because the media is, particularly mainstream media, if they are owned by private companies, they will do what is in the interests of private companies. A private company whose interest is profit margins and shareholder interests over everything else will do things that keep that power in check, that keep that power the way that it is. Sorry, not in check. And so they will use the media as the arm of propaganda to create division amongst what we see here as the labor force, so that they do not ever look up at the top of the pyramid and see who is sitting, pulling the strings of the media stations. Now, of course, we get into kind of tinfoil hat territory when we talk about the mainstream media and how they're corrupting us. But it really, the social media aspect of it specifically is incredibly, it's powered by an algorithm, but that algorithm, remember, the systemic default is capitalism. The systemic default leans conservative. It is right wing. And therefore, the algorithm is going to prop up those ideas and is going to, the algorithms work based on the current structure. And therefore, that is what will be propagated. The division that exists, the division that algorithms create amongst people, are not there for any kind of social reason. They are there for economic reasons, because people who are divided and their emotions are stirred up are people who stay on social media. People who keep giving money to ads. That means the company makes more profit. That means the shareholders are happy. That means the company value goes up. That means the CEO gets more money. It is all systemic. It's all economic. And this is the key. You have to go back to the default structure. And when the default structure is a specific economic structure, that is what will be enforced constantly. So we're not actually talking about being right or left. It's about the economic organization that is that is fueling the constant division. It's not for any reason other than that. Keep it in check, as in chess, forcing it to move how when they want. Yes, that's what I meant, basically. Not keep it in check as in balance it, because they don't care about power balances. If I was able to make an ideal newspaper media and have it keep an objective and news-oriented focus, I know what I'd call it. The news anchor. Ooh, that's actually pretty clever. I like that. There is a news website, I forget the name, but it compiles articles from numerous sources, tells you the bias of each article, and lets you see all the different headlines from the sources too. That's wonderful. I think you should link that in chat, or at least give it... No, you're a mod. You can link things. Link it in chat if you find it. Let's keep going.
100% I agree with you.
Yeah.
So like when I quote unquote like left the left, it was because I had begun to question the policies that were surrounding the whole COVID situation. And I
Oh God, here we go.
Cultishness on the left and the right.
Yes, wear a mask. No. Oh God, both these sides are being super unreasonable, don't you think?
For sure. But what I found was, if there were people who were willing to listen to me, they were like 95% of the time they were on the right.
I mean, yes, because what reasonable people are telling you to do requires you to act. And if you don't want to act and you respond like, no, I don't want to, like, you are going to find more people that do that because that's the kind of people you're going to attract. Jesus Christ. I found out about that from Minuteman, hilariously enough. Ground news. Okay, cool. All right, grounded news. Let's go there in a second. I'm gonna ground news. Okay, we'll go there in a second.
About like, I think the government is trying to control us. I think that they're trying to force us to do.
Bro. Okay, so, the government under, I'll do this very quickly. Hold on.
Right, about like, I think the government is trying to control us.
Okay. We are being controlled, but we are being controlled by both the government and corporations. And the idea that conservatives and liberals, again, not opposites, the idea that conservatives and liberals will continually misunderstand that the government is not some separate entity from corporations. Under capitalism, corporations work hand in hand with the government. The government is part and parcel of the system. It is implicit. It enforces the values of that system. The economy, the government is at the mercy of the organization of the economy. So if you are under a capitalist system, then the corporations who have enough influence will use that to influence the government to make decisions that affect the people. That means that the government is not separate from corporations and from corporate entities, that they are in fact part of the system themselves. And they too must be dismantled. So this idea that conservatives can separate corporate from government and then target the government, all it does is your government officials laugh at you because they are the scapegoats, and they know they are. And the corporate, the shareholders and CEOs are laughing at you because they're the true villains after all. And you're not targeting who you should be.
I think that they're trying to force us to do X, Y, Z things. I only found ears on the right, except in maybe 1 or 2 cases. So,
I mean, I wonder why.
Like for me, I was like when the prompt is like, oh, the left is or your former side is a cult. That was very visceral to me. There was a section of the right that I could talk to, and they didn't feel like there was a section of the left.
Well, you can always talk to me about it sometime if you want.
I was gonna say,
I'd be
me
more
too.
than happy to talk
I'm
to you
more
about the
than
COVID
happy to
stuff.
talk
Thank you,
about
my
that.
friend.
So there you go. Done. I mean, it feels kind of anecdotal to use that, but like none of these people have shut him down. And he has been hinting at some pretty, like, he hasn't said outright stuff, but I mean, especially her, no one has shut them down. No one silenced them. So they're talking about these spaces where people are silenced, and yet none of the silencing has happened. And also, by the way, conservatives are just as loud as they always were. And yet they complain even louder these days about how they're being silenced. But you're still speaking. You're still here. You're on a show being given the same platform as 4 liberals, and you're being told to discuss things on an equal playing field. And yet you claim you're being silenced by the left? Make it make sense. Please. Okay, here we go.
I think Trump will win the next election.
Hey.
Jesus Christ. Oi, he thinks so too?
Love Trump.
I'm a leftist sometimes, by the way.
I think he's the greatest president we've ever had.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I don't have to say anything else. I think everyone's on the same page on that.
And I love him. I've loved him for a long time. Personality, everything. I will say, the more they do this witch hunt after him, he just keeps getting more and more popular. And now that we have free speech on Twitter.
Yes. Now that Nazis have come back to Twitter, isn't it great?
You cannot deny that people love him.
Yes. So now that the people who were previously silenced on Twitter have come back to Twitter, now he's gained in popularity. And that doesn't say something about the types of people that he attracts. And the
black community's coming forward, and it's just funny because I love watching them go after him because I think elections at this point are 100% fake and rigged. I just watch him rise in popularity. Huh?
It's only fake and rigged if he loses, though, because that's what he said.
Do you think that if he wins?
I mean, with the entire world against you, I'd be shocked. But I just think now it's harder for them to hide it.
Yeah, I mean, I had major TDS
God.
for his Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah. A lot of people on the right have.
What? A mental condition? What? In which a person has been driven effectively insane due to their dislike of Donald Trump to the point at which they will abandon all logic and reason. Oh, it's an Urban Dictionary thing. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Policy violations? Hang on. Stream's gone for a second. Give me a moment. Why?
Too much socialism for YouTube.
Yeah. My question is why? Like, is this a Twitch thing only? Like, I don't understand why. Like, how many other streamers are able to react to videos and watch them, and I can't? Like, I get clapped? Or what is going on? I'm too leftist for YouTube. Hassan Piker is on, like, like, how many other leftists do this, you know? I'm not, God, I hate this. Are we back? No, still gone. Alright, well, it's 11:30 anyway, I guess. Oh, cool. Okay, we're back. Alright, this is where we're gonna end, apparently. We're not gonna watch the rest of this video. I'm gonna take a look at, I'm gonna take a look at the, at Grounded, cause that's quite fun. Okay. So yeah, if you're watching the VOD, we just got clapped because apparently I'm the only streamer who's not allowed to watch other YouTube videos and react to them. Not even music this time. That's crazy. Anyway, maybe it's just YouTube. Like maybe Twitch allows me to do stuff like this. I'm not infringing copyright though. I'm literally a commentator right now. Like I don't understand. This actually pisses me off so much. Like, what is the copyright here? Where is the copyright here, by the way? Like, it's not telling me where the license is. Like, that's crazy. Supposedly, but I'm not certain on this. YouTube's planning on cracking down on reaction content. At the very least, I know there's been more vocal resistance. Yeah, because of people like XQC who sit on Twitch and like blankly stare at a video for 5 minutes and then go, "Wow, chat, that was crazy," and then keep watching for like another 10. Like that's the kind of reaction content that I want to see gone, you know? Damn. Anyway, so that's sad. I like to think we're on the same page. I will post this in political chat. If you want to go check it out for yourself, we can watch the rest of it. We can watch the rest of it offline for sure. But I think, Ash, we're so much for the tolerant right. Am I right?
I know, right?
It's just so. Hang on. What we did in stream for. Before getting clapped. Yeah. By the way, I'm conservative and I'm getting cancelled. My stream's getting silenced and yeah. Is what I would say if I were a conservative. But if I were a conservative, then I would still have a platform. My stream wouldn't be suspended at all, and
Yeah, you just make
we would
shorts
still
and
be
put them on
reacting.
Twitter. Sorry,
Yeah.
X.
Yeah, let's put it on Twitter. Why not? Well, you know how YouTube's ideal way of solving problems is with a sledgehammer. Correct. Anyway, so fuck YouTube then. We're gonna go. By the way, I think Trump will win the next election is actually an interesting question. What do you think, Ash? Do you think Trump will win the next election?
I think he has a better chance than he should.
I love watching them go after.
Oh God, hang on. He has a better chance than he should. I mean, you know, he might do it from jail, which is quite interesting. But
I don't think he can if he actually goes to jail.
yeah, it depends on what they get him on. But yeah, I don't know who's going to be the next president. I personally am much less invested in this than I was before. Like the first time he ran, I was like, damn, this is quite crazy. And now, since that happened, since we saw such an open reflection of what Donald Trump, I mean, I think that what's important for people to understand is that Donald Trump is not an enigma in the Republican Party. He's just a loud version of what everyone else says behind closed doors. He's just a stupider version of that. So he is not a breakaway from American conservatism. He is a return to it. He's an extreme form of it. He's just another conservative. He's just loud and stupid. So it's not really like, yeah, I think the first time that it happened was like, damn, he's the president now. And then after him, with all of the, because we've now seen what loud and stupid far-right rhetoric will get you, it's brought so many things out of the woodwork. It honestly has changed a lot of political discourse for a very long time. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but the level of crazy has gone up quite substantially over the last sort of, what, like 8 years? It's been pretty wild. So yeah, I think I'm not really invested in, I mean, obviously he shouldn't win, but I'm not really, yeah. It's kind of scary because he might. There's a push to not vote for Biden, but I'm not sure that's the move unless we can get everyone on board. Yeah. You know who I like? You know who I really like? Someone who I think is the closest to an actual, I mean, except for Bernie Sanders, AOC, all those people, but like someone who was running for president who really doesn't have a lot of popularity, but within her popularity circle, she is very popular. Like within the people who like her, they love her. Is Marianne Williamson. Williams? Marianne Williams. I think so. Like, if you've heard her speak, she's amazing. I love the things that she says. Which is weird because I didn't ever think that I would get like excited about hearing an American politician speak about politics, but here I am. I mean, except except for Bernie Sanders, but it's like she's just hitting all the right notes, and it's a pity she doesn't have the popularity now, but hopefully she'll grow. Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching her. Oh, goodness. Okay, so what I'd like to do is actually go from... Oh, obviously, we can't see these, but what other questions were they asking? I think Trump will win the next election. Democrats are more compassionate than Republicans. It depends. Again, as a baseline, you have to remember that both sides support capitalism, and therefore, in that sense, neither side is compassionate at all. However, at least Democrats will smile as they eject homeless people and continue to fund the military-industrial complex, which includes Israel as well. Like, I guess if that counts as being more compassionate, then sure, they're more compassionate. Broadly generalizing question, if you ask me. I mean, this is Jubilee. They do this all the time. This is definitely Jubilee's like style. They ask these sorts of... I mean, they can't make it super specific, I think. They ask it as broadly as possible so that they can like cast a wide net, and then you can have like more nuanced discussions within the question. But yeah, what a... Changing sides was traumatic. I mean... Maybe, I guess. I don't really have experience with that. The dual party system hurts America. God, I This dude at the back not agreeing is crazy. I'm glad that at least, see, this is, and here we have the purpose of middle ground, that all of these people are sitting here going, the dual party system sucks. And yet they continue to go out to bat for it systemically. I am still aligned with certain policies from my former political beliefs. And I think most people would say yes to this, by the way. Again, most people believe in social justice and equality. Even these people. These people. They probably do too. The problem is that they've been galvanized against what that actually is because it's been hidden under buzzwords and talking points and social media that wants to turn you against that. So they are fighting against the thing that they want, essentially. Which is just sad, unfortunately. Okay, I want to look at grounded news now so we don't get clapped. So this is ground. Get 40% off our best features. Okay, so what happens here? Okay, so there are... Ah, this is very interesting. Okay. So left coverage, 15 sources, center coverage. Interesting. Okay. I find this very interesting. So it actually gives, there's like a little meter, like a little French flag that tells you how left or right they are.
It also, on some of them, gives factuality ratings as well.
Okay. This is crazy. The remains of 25 Chinese soldiers killed in the Korean War casketed in Republic of Korea. 86% left coverage, like only the left is talking about it. 25 Chinese soldiers killed in the Korean War were casketed in... Okay. South Korea has returned not enough unique coverage to create a summary. Oh, they summary it. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, they make a summary of all sources.
Damn, that's just super cool. Okay, CCTV, China Daily, the Korea Times, Global Times, News.cn. Okay. Oh, please upgrade to Premium Advantage to view factuality. Yeah. Very cool. I mean, hey, again, we're still under capitalism. I think this should be a good indication to those of you who are watching, who are still kind of getting on board with the whole, it all ties back to capitalism. It literally does. There's nothing that you can see outside that does not tie back to that in some way. It's like the fact that you're never like more than 7 steps related from like anyone else in the world, like that crazy fact. Like it's just you're never more than 7 steps away from the problems of capitalism. They affect us in literally every single way. It is responsible for pretty much every form of oppression that we currently have today. And the fact that even and nowhere is safe. Nowhere is safe. That is how much it has infected everything. It completely consumes everything. This is really good. Yeah, capitalism subsumes. Yeah, for sure. It does. It has to, because it constantly has to try and like justify itself. It has to persist. Otherwise it's going to implode.
I feel like if you care enough about like like the biases of the news sources and stuff, getting the premium for this site is probably a good idea.
I would care about biases and things. I think and
also the factuality rating of stuff.
Yeah, honestly, if I look at this, I'm gonna bookmark this. I'm also gonna. Oh wait, no. I need ground news. There we go. I need to bookmark that. And I'm gonna do that on my personal one as well, because I think this is a really cool space that I could possibly look at for fact checking as well. Yeah. Okay, I want to read about this. I've been having the eye on a book that I want to read about it. Mark Fisher's book on capitalist realism, where he delves into whether there really is no alternatives to capitalism, as is often touted. Ah, yes, we should continue. There are no alternatives. Therefore, we should just continue with the way things are. Okay, South Korea has returned the remains of 25 Chinese soldiers killed in the Korean War to China, marking the 10th repatriation of its kind. Since 2014, South Korea has returned a total of 938 sets of remains, 335 personal items of Chinese troops. The repatriation ceremony attended by officials reflects bilateral cooperation and hopes for enhanced ties. Okay, so basically, this is one of those events when you play Crusader Kings. This is one of those events that can like pop up, like the random events, and it can be like a fellow nation, and then you can like increase like reputation with them and stuff. Like that's what this is. Okay. I want to see something else. Well, since we were talking about Israel-Palestine earlier in the stream, he is against the idea that there's no alternative. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's good then. You should definitely read that. I think any thought that people, once again, any thought that people have that there is no alternative to capitalism is because of capitalism. It proves how effective it has been in convincing everyone that it is the natural state of being, and it's just super concerning. Oh, he isn't alive anymore? Ah, okay. Alright, a timeline of news events on the most recent escalation in violence of the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Okay, let's see. Alright, so here's how we do this. Okay, so 37% of the sources lean left, 35 center, 27 right. Okay. Oh, InfoWars, God. I don't know if any of these are left. So again, we really have to just take this with a grain of salt, all right? The fact that Breitbart is seen as not all the way there should definitely tell you something, I think. And yeah, it's very important. We've done this quite a lot today on stream, but if we're going to discuss politics, I'm going to come back to this almost all the time, because it is so important to remember that if you're covering this from an American perspective, American left is not left. American left is liberal, and that is center. That is still upholding traditions of capitalism. I'm going to say it like I'm a stuck record. Okay, here we go. So basically, yesterday, this was covered. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu says war against Hamas will not stop after ceasefire. I mean, what's the... What? Just say no ceasefire. Like, that's a lot of words to just say we will continue to bomb Gaza. Elon Musk says S-Corp will donate ad and subscription revenue tied to Gaza war. Okay, I don't care. South African Parliament's vote to cut ties with Israel criticized. I care about this. This is very interesting. South Africa has a very interesting relationship with this, because we have been through apartheid already, and we have a very intimate understanding of many of our people still, most of the people still alive today have an intimate understanding of how it was to live back then. All of those people should be on the side of Palestine right now, because that's what they're living through. And I think the South African position is very interesting, not to mention the fact that Nelson Mandela has literally, while he was still alive, I don't think that there are many people who would say that Nelson Mandela is not like a good voice to listen to, no matter what you think of him. But while he was still alive, he directly addressed the Israel-Palestinian conflict, and specifically said he sort of talked about the similarities between his struggle and the struggle of the Palestinian people. And then I think the highlight of his speech is a very quotable moment from him, and he said, I say quotable and then I'm going to forget what he said, but he said, Yeah, I'm gonna Google it. Nelson Mandela Palestine quote. Oh, hello. Yeah. We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. I like, hello. You can't you can't lay it out thicker than that. But one of the things he did was he directly addressed them, and he said you start by talking, and then he said, like, you start with diplomacy and like bargaining and the right channels of peace, and then when those channels are exhausted and the only alternative is violence, you must use violence. And he like and I mean, you know, just absolutely based. I would like to know how they color code it. On your screen, blue is left and red is right, but for me it's the reverse. This is very interesting. Like, left is red and blue is right here. But on this side, left is blue and red is right. Like, that seems confusing. I would change that if I were them. But yeah, anyway. So basically, because of this, because of our very intimate sort of connection with apartheid and apartheid states, because we were one, there's been a lot of protest action in South Africa regarding the government needing to cut ties with Israel and to close their embassy there. And I guess we're going to find out. A majority of lawmakers voted for the motion to close Israel's embassy in Pretoria. The vote is non-binding, but it is now up to the government to decide whether to act on the motion. South Africa recently referred Israel to the International Criminal Court for potential war crimes in Gaza. I mean, I'm very proud of my country. Thank you very much for doing that. And that's great. I think that's really good. Yeah. Okay, cool. So South Africa does that. Then we see inside the secret White House effort to secure the Hamas hostage release. Hostage families welcome first. Precarious hopes after Israel-Hamas deal. What's happened? Oh, God. What's happening here? What's the most recent thing? Qatar, the US, and Egypt brokered a deal for a 4-day ceasefire between Israel and Hamas with the release of 50 hostages held by Hamas. The deal raises hopes for the safe return of the hostages, including a peace-loving civilian, his pregnant wife, and their children to the community. President Joe Biden expressed gratitude to Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and Prime Minister Netanyahu for their efforts in reaching the agreement. Oh, so a ceasefire has been brokered? Whoa. That's very interesting. Okay, so hopefully they're doing it. I was seeing the US here is a very big surprise. I find this very interesting. We'll see how this develops as we go. But yeah, it seems like there's going to be a wave of hostages released soon, which is very, very good. And by the way, isn't it interesting how the release of hostages is directly tied to a ceasefire? As if a ceasefire is the only way to release the hostages. Okay, and then what's this other one here? Hamas and Israel reached a deal to release 50 women. Okay, that's what we were talking about. Israel initially hesitated to stick the deal due to lack of identifying information about the hostages. The negotiations were challenging and required pressure from the US for Israel to agree to humanitarian pauses, but ultimately Hamas approved the deal. I hate this humanitarian I hate news language like this. I hate it so much. Israel initially hesitated to accept the deal due to lack of identifying information. What do you mean?
They might be worried that some of the hostages might be spies or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Okay, and all these have high factuality, so that's good. This is a great website. I'm going to use this all the time. This
also,
is very good for news.
When it shows you the companies that produce the articles.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's a rating for the company overall. I think that's like this specific article is left leaning or right leaning.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's like this company is left leaning.
Yeah. All right. I think. Yeah, okay. So Israel-Hamas truce to begin at 7 a.m. on Friday with first hostages to be freed. Damn. 13 women and children held by militants in Gaza will be the first to be released as temporary truce between Israel and Hamas begins. Good. The deal, mediated by Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S., includes the Red Cross visiting the hostages and delivering medicines. The truce allows for the entry of humanitarian supplies into Gaza, while Israel halts air missions over southern Gaza and maintains a daily no-fly window into the north.
What could be interesting as well is to read the different summaries as well.
So from, I wonder, let's look at a lean left and lean right. So this is the Parisian, and then we'll go, what is NDTV? Interesting. Let's go with NDTV. Okay, let's see if there's a difference between the news here. Oh, this is French. Okay. Oi. They're not gonna let me. Gotta create an account. No. Okay, so this one says... Hold on. Okay. Let's go with someone else then. Oh, that's the only one. Oh, hang on, there's more. There's more. Headline not available. Okay, I can't actually see any of the right ones. Okay, never mind. We'll talk about it later. I think it's a good time to end for now because I've talked enough. I think if I were to... Yeah. So, to summarize what we've done and what we've talked about today, if we're gonna... I think as we wrap up this this discussion, and by the way, please make sure. Yeah, I'm really pleased that that there's been a discussion in chat as well, and you guys are contributing. It's been very cool to have this dialogue with you. Get your final thoughts in if you can. I think to summarize what we've done, talking about politics can never be done without understanding the system baseline. You have to understand the default position first. Before you think or look at any angles or any perspectives, you have to understand the systemic baseline and the fact that the systems that we are under right now are, in being capitalist, have shaped the world in that way, and therefore because we are convinced that that is the default setting, everything to the contrary is already at a disadvantage before even coming into play. It's very important to tie everything back to a systemic base, because very little happens in a vacuum of individualism. Very little, especially politically. The second thing that I'll say is just one of the most important pieces of advice that I could give to anyone hoping to have a dialogue with anyone else about politics. If you're trying to open people's perspectives, if you're trying to have conversations where people get sensitive and emotional about these sorts of things, you can say that we do not judge people on their individual merits. We judge them on the institutional role they play in society. This is especially effective in police debates. It's especially effective in the Israel-Palestine conflict discussion. It is effective when the person you're talking to is reacting in a way that suggests they are personally attacked by what you're saying, rather than the reality, what should be the reality, and that is that we are not our values. The values that we adopt pass through us. We as individuals hold values, but they're not ours. They are shared by many other people. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can learn to distance ourselves personally from these sorts of systemic discussions, and we can have actual real progress on how to move away from the current status and the current system, how to dismantle it, how to build up something new. from what remains. So I would say, remember that someone's institutional role in society says absolutely nothing about who they are as a person. I don't care how many landlords people say are good people. The job of landlord should not exist in the way that it does, full stop. That doesn't mean that every landlord is good or every landlord is bad. Same thing as police officers. The institution of police all over the world, particularly in the West, but everywhere really, acts as an arm of the capitalist state to protect the interests of the wealthy class. It is not formed in the interests of the community. I don't care how many good cops you know, how good they are has no bearing on the institutional role they play in society by being a police officer. Again, same thing with same thing with lots of things actually. When we talk about groups of people, when we talk about institutions that make up people, like government or business or police or school, education, or etc. It's not about the person. It's not about the individual. It's about the role they play in the institution. That's it. I like that the articles tag individuals, private equities, and corporations too. That's a neat addition. Yeah, I like that as well. I did notice that. It's important to note that, where money is being funneled as well. Yeah. I think that's, yeah. So make sure to separate individual from institutional role, and make sure to always take things back to a systemic level. Don't get caught in the weeds. Remember that the problems that we face as a society, really there are only three or four. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but instead we often like to worry about the fact that there seem to be just 7 gorillion problems that exist all over the world, but really there are only 3 or 4. And those 3 or 4 huge problems create the 7 billion smaller ones. So it's really, really important to remember that, and to always take things back to a systemic level. Link it like a puzzle so that you can have a greater understanding of how it all connects and works together. Trickle down problems. It's quite wild that really the only thing that trickles down from capitalism is the problems that it creates. So, relate things back to systems, institutional roles from personal. Anything else we did? Most people that you talk to, if you talk to them like this, in a good faith way, in an educational manner, most people want the same things. They just have different ways of talking about it because we've all been indoctrinated by social media one way or the other. By an algorithm that also works to uphold a current system. Again, bringing it back to the systemic nature of things. If we have conversations like this, in this way, and by the way, I didn't say without getting aggressive, because emotion is a very important part of this. That we can't be devoid of emotion. We've got to keep the emotion with us. It's got to stay with us. It's what makes us human. So keeping these conversations just like this, you'll find that most people really just want the same stuff. We are all victims of propaganda. And the sooner that you realize that you are no more immune to propaganda than anyone else is the moment that you can develop greater empathy for people who oppose you. You can figure out why. Why do they oppose me? Do they oppose me because they're horrible people? Or the more likely option, do they oppose me because they've been indoctrinated to think that way? Does that mean that they can escape accountability for believing shitty things or for doing shitty things based on those shitty beliefs? No, of course not. No one should escape accountability for doing shitty things. But how we hold them accountable is also very important in terms of moving forward. Because we don't want half of a society when we're finished. And again, I'm not saying anything about finding a middle ground with Nazis, or going to the furthest right person you can, and trying to find a point of like a happy medium. You're not going to find one. It's important to see those people also as the role that they play in the institutions that we are under. I am interested, Ash, if you're comfortable saying, have you ever thought about where you fall on the on the sort of leftist spectrum, if you consider yourself a leftist at all? What kind of leftist?
No idea.
What kind of leftist have you thought about it?
No, fuck it, no.
Okay, that's totally fine. Like I'm not expecting anything, but yeah, I was just interested. I do think you are a leftist, but I was wondering what kind.
But I'm right-handed.
Yeah, I sort of flop around myself. I'm not really sure. Again, I think I like to, if you are interested in leftism, I think, again, this is something else that I talked about that I like to put in. I think I'm left-handed as well. Left-handed gang. Thank you, Rain. I think it's very important to know as a leftist or as someone who wants to learn more about leftist spaces is that our biggest issue is that we also tend to get stuck in the weeds. You've got to bring it back to the shared value that the system needs to go. And how we change that is often what leads to a lot of fighting, but I think I think it just takes perseverance and grassroots level unification. We've got to find some way to unite. But yeah, it's very important to realize that really what separates various brands of leftism is not the struggle itself, but the method of struggle, and also very importantly what happens after the struggle.
We shall become one within the hive mind.
Oh man, that's my favorite brand of leftism. From Killix.
You wanna drink some of that milk?
We're doing references that most people won't understand, so this is now just kind of really concerning.
You wanna taste some of Vector's milk, huh?
I don't. It's called ambrosia. Thank you.
It's called milk.
Do you think that people hear us talking about Vector and think that they're talking about Vector from Despicable Me?
I don't know. Do you want to drink his milk?
I don't know, man. Oh. Oh. Well, that was a lot of fun. That was very cool. I'm happy that we chose to do this. Vector's milk. Ugh, Jesus. I think yeah, I'm happy we did this. Please make sure make sure to stay active as a political presence. If you don't have to run for office, but as long as you continue to be aware of these things, you can continue to refine and develop your value system and your opinions on them. Remember, I will leave you with one final piece of advice that we focused on earlier in the stream, and that is the most important question is why. There is no greater question than why. Why does someone believe this? Why do I believe this? Why don't I believe this? Why did I change? Why did I not change? Where do I fall? But also, why do I fall where I fall? These why questions are the most important. It helps us understand.
Why do some people believe there are two suns?
Correct. Why? Truly why? Some questions we will never know the answers to. But it should not prevent us from asking why anyway. So I think on that note, I will end the stream. So thank you all very much for participating and for watching and for being a part of this lovely community. If you are watching, whether on stream or on the VOD, and you just can't quite make it to my side, if you feel like you have greatly differing opinions, that's fine. We can certainly have a dialogue and about that if you wish to. But if you'd like to stick around and listen to more, this is not the last time I'll talk about politics. We'll we'll do more later. So I'd like to thank you all once again very much for watching, and thank you, Ash, for coming in to keep me company, short as it was. How have you been, by the way? Are you doing okay today?
Okay.
Things have been fine?
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Right. It is time for me to go to bed. So thank you, Ash, for being here again, and I will see you at some point. Probably during the next stream. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
To the rest of you, thank you very much. It is now 12:12. Oh, interesting. It's 12 minutes past midnight today. This is Fei La again. I think this is... Oh, it's Asia by Fei La. Thank you all very much for watching and for tuning in. Your support means the world. Please make sure to drink plenty of water to stay hydrated and to be kinder to yourself than you're currently being. And I will see you all in the next stream in roughly 36 hours on Saturday morning, where we do it all over again. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.